All right. So again, thank you for joining us and for learning about the Arizona Teacher Residency. So I want to give you a little bit of background to start us off here. First, this whole program is based off the idea and that copious research identifies that teachers make more of a difference in student achievement and actually student outcomes too than any other school factor. So that includes life outcomes beyond this and even health outcomes. So teachers are a huge, huge part of our society. And teachers who reflect their students, particularly in race and gender, can improve a variety of student outcomes. So that's something that's also really important. But in Arizona, we're facing a critical teacher shortage that has only worsened under COVID. Some research suggests that up to 25 or 20% rather of classrooms are filled by an unqualified teacher or sit vacant. And over 19% of teachers leave every year in Arizona, and that's the highest turnover in the US. So the average nationally is 8% for turnover. And while more than half of our students are people of color, over 75% of teachers in Arizona are white and about the same proportion are women. So it would be useful to have teachers who reflect their students better in schools. So Arizona needs more highly qualified and racially diverse and gender diverse teachers to serve students from a range of backgrounds in our low-income schools in particular. And one way that we can achieve that is through innovative context-specific graduate pre-service teacher education programs to recruit, prepare, support, and retain individuals, especially those who might not otherwise enter teaching. And pre-service teacher preparation means we're preparing folks from the very beginning, before they have become a teacher or have achieved teacher certification. So what is a teacher residency? A lot of folks ask this question. What makes this different from existing teacher prep programs? So teacher residency programs are 1 to 2 year graduate teacher education programs that are committed to serving local Title I schools. And Title I is a designation in schools that indicates the percentage of students who qualify for free and reduced price lunch. So in order to be a Title I school, you have to have at least 40%, but it's often a majority. And so it's an indicator of the family income. So in the first year of residency programs, residents go through an apprenticeship where they're paired with a highly qualified expert teacher in the expert teacher's classroom, and they complete coursework towards certification, during which the resident receives a living stipend. Because they are not employed by the district in this experience, the program pays them a living stipend so that they can pay for housing and food. And in the second year, they are hired by the district as a full-time teacher of record, which means that they have their own classroom and their own students, and they work towards induction, which is often supported through the program, and complete any additional coursework that's required for their master's degree. And generally, residencies have highly subsidized master's degree tuition so that folks aren't taking on the additional burden of more student debt. Generally, these programs are affiliated with a university or even two, which grants the master's degree, but these programs often have more autonomy to innovate with coursework and structures, and are generally able to be more responsive to local district needs. There's also an intentional recruitment of teachers from underrepresented groups, meaning teachers of color, men, first-generation college students, recent college graduates, mid-career switchers, and teachers for high-need subject areas like dual language programs or special education. And in exchange for all of this, residents are committing to teaching for a minimum of 3 to 5 years in local schools. And so this, in sum, is what teacher residencies are generally. And there are teacher residencies across the country, but the first were established in Boston and Chicago in about 2001, 2002. So they've been around for about 20 years. And the model is based off medical residencies, where the medical student then becomes a resident, is supervised by a supervising doctor, and learns the craft while working in the field alongside a skilled mentor. So how does this teacher residency model compare to other teacher prep programs? You can see that the primary difference is this runway, what we call the runway, the pre-service student teaching or apprenticeship experience. So in a residency, it's 9 to 12 months where you are learning how to teach under the guidance of a mentor, where you do not have your own classroom, but are rather learning and slowly ramping up your classroom responsibilities. That's very different than post-baccalaureate programs like Teach for America, which has a 6-week summer institute, which has some student teaching, or a traditional program like an undergraduate program where you might have student teaching for a semester or a quarter, but the residency is much, much more than that. And it's 1 to 2 years of coursework. It interweaves theory and practice, so it's not overly theoretical or overly practical. We recognize that teachers are skilled practitioners and professionals, and that they need to understand some of the theory in addition to the moves. They are not technicians. They're not just implementing something. They have to learn how to craft their work. And since we have about 20 years of research on residencies, we know quite a bit about them and their demonstrated benefits, one of which is teacher retention. So this is the most important for Arizona. Remember that statistic that 19% of our teachers leave every year. Residencies are improving teacher retention more than any other program. So recent research suggests that over 80% of residency graduates remain in the classroom after 5 years. So that's huge. In Arizona, 42% of our teachers leave within the first 3 years. So we're really hoping that the residency will help change that. These programs also enhance teacher diversity, effectively recruiting a more racially diverse teaching force. 62% of residents that are affiliated with the National Center for Teacher Residencies programs identify as people of color. And that's an important shift, especially when you're looking at over 80% of the teaching force currently is white. And so we want to recruit people from a range of backgrounds and men as well. And then in terms of student achievement data, over time, graduates of teacher residency programs are outperforming those from both traditional and alternative programs in student achievement data. So we know that this works and it's effective for students as well, because they're getting so much more preparation and support and being supported to also continue to learn and grow, as opposed to taking on survival strategies in their early months and then burning out quickly. And then finally, because these programs are so supportive and there's so much work that goes in the field and also coursework that responds to that field work, these programs really powerfully shape new teachers' both pedagogy, which is how they teach, and their relational practice, which is how they're able to support and interact with students in their early teaching. So we know that they're effective for a range of reasons. As noted, there's so many different programs. These are just a handful of successful programs across the country. And now we're introducing the Arizona Teacher Residency. And this program is going to be based out of the Arizona K12 Center, which is located in Phoenix, but it is affiliated with Northern Arizona University, where residents will be getting their master's degree. And we will be recruiting our first cohort now for the summer of 2022 is when everyone will start. And that cohort will be approximately 30 folks, so 30 residents in our first cohort. We will be expanding cohorts as we go. We want to make sure we do this well, so we're starting a little bit small, but in the further years, we're hoping to have 50, 60 and upwards, possibly even reaching 100. So this first year, we would encourage everyone to apply. And if they don't get into the first cohort, they would be considered for the second cohort. This program is adding to the Arizona K12 Center's existing continuum for practice and professional support. So you can see we're adding the aspiring teacher piece here to an already robust system of teacher professional development. The K12 Center already supports new teachers through induction programs. And the Arizona K12 Center is also the Center for National Board here in Arizona. So those who are National Board certified do so through the Arizona K12 Center. And the National Board certification is the highest standard for teachers in the country. It's like boards in medicine. It's a way for teachers to achieve an even greater standard for their practice. So housing our Arizona Teacher Residency in the Arizona K12 Center is already uplifting the program and associating it with the highest standards for teaching. And our vision is that every child in Arizona receives an outstanding education taught by a well-prepared teacher who's committed to the profession and the children they serve. And that word committed is really important to us. And our mission, the way that we hope to achieve that, is by recruiting, preparing, and supporting diverse and talented people who want to become teachers through rigorous graduate education, a year-long clinical apprenticeship, and ongoing professional learning. So I want to take some time to talk a little bit about our values for the Arizona Teacher Residency, because this is what we'll be looking for when we are recruiting and selecting folks for our program. So again, the first word here is commitment. So we're committed to our partner communities. We're committed to advancing the work of schools and to providing an excellent education for students. And so we're looking for residents who are similarly committed to these communities, committed to the learning of their students and to growing as educators while supporting these partner districts. And so they're going to make a commitment. Anyone who goes to this program makes a commitment to stay in their partner district for the residency year and then 3 additional years. And so that's a 4-year total commitment, but we're hoping that they stay much longer than that. The next value is inclusivity. So we're working deliberately to include and represent all voices in our recruitment, coursework, and advocacy. And so we want to recruit residents who reflect, understand, and serve students from diverse backgrounds in our partner districts. And then high standards, again, we're associated with National Board here. So we hold really high standards for our work and for teaching practice and for student learning. And we also hold high expectations for the residents and expect them to know their subjects and learn and employ appropriate strategies and methodologies to help students excel. And so to do so, they're going to be managing and monitoring student learning and a host of other things to support this. Next, we're really valuing relationships here. So we believe that education is a human profession and that the basis of this work is about forming meaningful relationships. Both our work as a residency and forming relationships with districts and stakeholders and residents, but also that residents need to learn how to develop respectful and reciprocal relationships through knowledge of, care for, and interactions with students and families that they serve. And then in terms of responsiveness, we're committed to creating learner-centered classrooms in which teachers work to engage, understand, and honor the students they teach. And residents will learn responsive approaches to teaching and learning that include constructivist, relevant, reflective, and inquiry-based pedagogies to deepen understanding, critical thinking, and learning. And if you have no idea what some of these words mean, don't worry, we will teach all of these things in the program. But the constructivist is like students get to create their own learning as opposed to just being fed information. We also rigorously believe in reflection. So we rigorously evaluate and reflect upon our work in communities and in pre-service teacher education, and want to recruit residents who embrace feedback and think critically about their own practice to provide for a cycle of continuous improvement, both for the residents, but also for the residency. So we're all reflecting and learning and growing at the same time. And so ultimately this program is different from other preparation programs because it requires more preparation before residents begin teaching, is a 2-year hybrid master's degree program, hybrid meaning online and in person, provides financial and professional support to residents and supervising teachers that they wouldn't get otherwise, supports residents through 2 years of induction support after they become a teacher of record, and requires a 3-year commitment to teaching in partner districts after the residency year. And our partner districts for this beginning cohort, the 2022 to 2023 residency year, are Osborne School District. And you can see Osborne is these are all from their website, the quotes from their website, but they're located in the heart of Phoenix and serve 2,800 students. Roosevelt School District, which is also located right in Phoenix, but south, and serves more than 8,000 students. And Tempe Elementary School District, which borders Phoenix and incorporates parts of Phoenix and Guadalupe and Tempe. So it covers a huge area across Tempe and has 12,000 students in the district. So we are serving all 3 of these partner districts in our first year. And all 3 of these partner districts, most of the schools identify as Title I again. So they are serving students from a range of backgrounds and many students who come from lower income families. In the first year of this residency program, residents are going to complete a 10-day summer institute up in Flagstaff. So that's kind of fun. We will cover their room and board during this, and that's going to happen in mid-July. They'll be paired with 2 supervising teachers, one in the fall and one in the spring. So they get to see 2 different approaches to teaching. They will receive support from a field coordinator from the program during this first year experience. And 4 of their days a week will be spent in schools apprenticing and completing up to 2 hours of service per day for that school. And then on Fridays, the 5th day of the week, they will be completing coursework all day. And they'll also have 1 evening course on one of their previous 4 days. And throughout the process, the whole first year, they're going to receive a $15,000 living stipend, and possibly an additional education award, depending on our affiliation with AmeriCorps. So there's a lot of value in that first year. It's a busy first year, but there'll be so much support for each resident. And in the second year, residents are going to complete 2 hybrid summer courses. So that means there'll be some in-person components, but a lot of this will be online. We know people during the summer may travel, so want to give space for that. And in that second year, residents will also secure employment in their partner district for a full-time teaching position. So they will be receiving a full teacher salary in that first year. They will receive induction support from an Arizona K12 Center mentor, which will continue into year 3. And at the end of the second year, they'll complete a capstone project or thesis based on their teaching experiences, which they'll present to their residency cohort and members of the public. And at the end of the second year, they'll graduate from the program with little to no debt, thanks largely to Arizona Teachers Academy, which can cover the entire cost of the master's degree tuition for this program. So this is what the program looks like for anyone who wants to just see it laid out across the years. So you'll see that teacher apprenticeship, that residency year is the first year. And this is what we just talked about happening in that first year when they're paired with the supervising teacher. In that second year, they're a teacher of record, but receiving induction support. And again, more of the information about that. And then this is the 2 years of continued commitment to the partner district. So it's after they receive the master's degree, they will continue to receive induction support. And then in year 4, we encourage folks to consider a national board pre-candidacy, so that here in year 5, they could actually start becoming a national board certified teacher. So it's really exciting. We'll be here to support throughout the process, but this just gives you a sense of the trajectory for the program. So who is eligible to apply? Well, if you have or will have a bachelor's degree in any concentration by June of 2022, you are eligible to apply to this program. If you do not already have teacher certification, so because this is a pre-service teacher preparation program, we cannot accept folks who already have been prepared to be a teacher or have an existing teacher certification. So if you are a paraprofessional or if you sub, that doesn't count. So you can absolutely apply to this program, and we encourage you to do so. And that kind of experience is invaluable, but we cannot take existing practicing teachers who have a full teacher certification in Arizona. And the other part is that you must be a local resident or willing to relocate to Phoenix in this first year. And then probably the first couple of years will be starting up in Phoenix. We hope to expand to rural areas, but at the beginning of this whole experience, we will be here in Phoenix. So have to be local. And the Arizona Teachers Academy funding has a couple additional, if you're looking to get that funding to cover your master's, which everyone should be eligible to apply for. You just have to be an Arizona resident, meaning that you moved here and got your driver's license. If you live somewhere else or you already live here, you have to be eligible to apply for a FAFSA. So unfortunately, DACA recipients are not eligible for the Arizona Teachers Academy funding, but we still encourage you to apply if you're a DACA recipient, because we might be able to find additional sources of funding to cover your master's degree tuition, even if the Arizona Teachers Academy can't. So that gives you a little background on who is eligible to apply. So how do you apply? Here's the application process. You start with the very simple, basic application form. These are due by January 7th, but I encourage you to finish these as soon as you can. It asks basic demographic information about where you went to college, your GPA, and like very short answer, 2 very, very small short answer questions. So very easy application, get that done as soon as you can. And then we will invite you back for the next part. And in that part, we're inviting candidates to submit additional information, including your unofficial transcript, your resume, contact information for 3 recommenders, and a personal statement. And that's due February 4th right now. So as soon as you turn in that application form, we'll be able to go through them and then invite people back. We're hoping to start inviting folks who've already submitted applications in the next couple of weeks to be submitting their additional information on a separate form. And then those who make it through that process will be invited back to complete an application to NAU's Masters in Elementary Education with certification. And many of the components for this NAU application will repeat some of the existing application requirements, so save everything, because you will have the opportunity to then just submit that to NAU. Since your master's will be through Northern Arizona University, we have to have that process done. And that has to be completed by March 7th. And then the last part is selection day. So we will invite finalists who haven't been selected yet, but finalists to come meet other applicants, complete an interview, give a short 5-minute mini lesson, things like that. We haven't fully identified all of the activities for that, but it should be fun. And it's going to happen probably the last week of March. And from that day, we'll make our final decisions, and we will admit our final cohort of residents by early May at the very latest, and then make public announcements about who will be in that first cohort. So really exciting. It all starts in January. So make sure you get those initial application forms in, and you can go to our website to find the application form. And you can let us know if you have any questions about any of this. Once you're admitted, here are some important dates to remember. The summer online coursework, which will culminate in this summer institute up in Flagstaff, we're going to open these courses online. So they're technically in a hybrid format, so you can get some initial reading done before you come to the summer institute. Those will open right after July 4th. And so you'll have access to any of the course materials. And then the summer institute will happen up in Flagstaff. And then your classroom apprenticeship in these partner schools will begin August 1st. So we expect everybody who is admitted to the program to make all of these dates. This one will be online, but these dates up in Flagstaff and the August 1st date where you're actually starting your apprenticeship in schools, and the whole program begins with the Friday coursework and the all-day work in schools under the guidance of your mentor teacher. So why should you choose Arizona Teacher Residency? First is the opportunity to serve these local communities in Arizona. The second is thorough pre-service preparation. So we have a much longer runway before you get into the classroom, so you know that you can be well prepared before you take on teaching. Teaching is a challenging job, but it's an incredibly fulfilling one. So we want to make sure that you can do it and that you're there and that you're supported. There's also financial incentives that a lot of other programs don't offer. So that $15,000 a year living stipend in that first year while you're learning to become a teacher, it can be expensive if you don't have that. So we're offering that stipend. We're also being able to provide tuition remission through Arizona Teachers Academy. So you can get your master's degree without having to pay. We're also offering healthcare for those who need it, and possibly some other incentives as well. So there's a lot of ways in which we can support residents initially in this program, so to set you up for success. The master's degree is also a huge perk. NAU actually started as a teacher's college and has always been devoted to teaching, and it's an incredible teacher program, and it's the only program in Arizona that is CAPE certified, which is the highest certification for teacher preparation program. So it's an excellent place to do your master's degree in teaching. And by going through this program, you'll have our incredible network of support. So from your supervising teachers in schools who are going to select very thoughtfully, to the course instructors in our program, to your cohort mates. So you're going to have this incredible cohort that you're going through the program with, and the Arizona K12 staff. We will help support you through this, and also the district and school staff who is incredibly on board with all of this as well. And then you are basically guaranteed, provided that you meet all the qualifications of this program, a full-time job in a partner district starting in the second year. So you'll receive salary through that, and we'll help you with job placement. So you don't have to do this alone. And then after that, we'll provide extensive induction support and professional development once you become a teacher. So you're not left adrift to swim in this profession alone. You'll have support. And finally, we're national board aligned. So one of the top honors in teaching, and you'll have support to do that so that you can continue on in your profession. We really want folks to understand that teaching does have a career ladder. You can move up in teaching. It's not just a flat profession. And it all starts, you'll get your master's, which there's often pay bumps associated with that, national board, further pay bumps. So there's ways to move up in teaching, and we're here to support that. So I want to take a moment here to look at the questions. Okay. I'm going to start with the ones in the Q&A. So are residents able to move schools within a district if needed? I would be worried about committing to working with a team of people for 4 years. Yes. Yes, as long as you are in your partner district, you absolutely are qualified as having maintained that commitment. So you can move schools within the district. Your residency placement will be in one school, maybe 2 different schools over the course of that year, and you'll probably be in a different school wherever you are interviewing and getting hired. So it could be any school within that district. Second question, are there any requirements for receiving spending the living stipend, such as submitting proof of living costs? Not that we've established right now. We pretty much trust folks to spend that money as you need. It's not huge. We wish we could pay you even more. So no, we're not going to be policing the spending of your money in any kind of detailed way. I'll have to find out more about if we have any particular requirements, but it's not going to be highly detailed. Does tuition remission mean that a resident would be reimbursed at the conclusion of the program, or is it waived from the beginning? It's waived from the beginning. So if you apply to the Arizona Teachers Academy, that will cover, it's like financial aid. So it will cover the cost of your program. So it's basically tuition free, is an easier way of saying it. So you will not have to pay for tuition. And what would the ideal resident be like? That's a good question. I mean, I think I would go back to the values that we've established for the program. We're looking for people who are eager to learn and grow and take feedback well, and really care about students and children and the communities that they're serving, and are creative. And I'm always looking to support, students and families in any way that they can. And committed to their subject matters, to teaching as well, enjoying teaching and designing lessons, things like that. If you're not currently an Arizona resident but willing to move, that would be okay. Yes. We are hoping to find folks who will stay in Arizona. That's definitely one of our points. So if you have connection to Arizona, and maybe you have family here or friends who live here, that helps, because it shows that there would be a reason for you to stay. But maybe you just really love the desert and you're like 100% all in, and you're going to move here and stay here. And that's fine too. So we're looking for folks who we can retain. Since teacher retention is such a problem, we're looking for folks who will stay. Do residents have a choice in district schools? Yes, in the initial application form, we ask you which of the districts you feel like you most want to work in. You can select all 3 if you're not sure. You can select one, and we'll do our best to honor that. We don't have choices in particular schools because we're working with the districts to identify which schools we're going to center the residents in. We're trying to place at least 3 residents, or at least 2, but 2 to 3 residents at a minimum at each school site, so that you're not alone at your school site. You have other residents there with you. And so we won't be able to be at any school within these districts. We'll center ourselves at particular schools within the district. And so you won't be able to choose schools, but you will have input into which districts you'd like to be a part of. That's the next question as well. Where exactly would the graduate classes be held in person? The room that I am actually sitting in at this very moment is at the Arizona K12 Center, and it's called the PLC. What does that stand for? Professional Learning Center. Yes, so this Professional Learning Center is the room where all of our Friday coursework will take place. And the 1 day a week after school meeting will either take place here or in one of the districts in a classroom. And the Arizona K12 Center is located at about 3rd Street and Virginia, so in between Thomas and McDowell, and so right in the heart of Phoenix. So the in-person coursework is right here in Phoenix. And will the living stipend be given all in one, or will it be split up throughout the year? So it depends on how we're sourcing that. If it's through AmeriCorps, I believe that they're paid out in particular distributions over the course of the year, starting in September. And so it will depend on that. I can provide you more information when that's available, but I think it'll probably be split up. So it won't be all the way up front. But if we do connect with AmeriCorps, there's also the potential to receive another small chunk at the end called an education award, which can be used to pay off existing student debts or for housing and things like that. The next question is, are there plans to add those with teacher certification to a residency program to retain them and to attain a master's in education? We don't yet have plans for those who already have teacher certification for the residency, but the Arizona K12 Center does have a number of different programs that are available to existing teachers that will help support you. And one of them is national board certification. So thanks to Arizona Teachers Academy funding, we actually have money now to support national board certification scholarships as well. And national board will give you a salary bump as well. So for existing teachers, we do have the national board program for you, which is very similar and have funding for that. But we do not have the residency ability yet right now. We're focusing on pre-service to start. How are candidates informed that they got accepted at various levels? Everybody will be notified through email. So those who have already applied, we're going through those applications now, and provided that everybody meets qualifications, they'll be invited back to submit their additional information. So you can start preparing that now if you've already submitted that initial application, and expect an email soon. We're just working on finalizing the second form for everybody to do. And so you'll get notified each time via email. Can you earn a per pupil personnel service credential through this program? Not currently. We don't have that capacity right now. In this program, we have the ability to offer them the master's, the teacher certification, and some specialization in bilingual education as well, which we're working on as a certificate. Or an endorsement, rather. Can you further explain the professional development opportunities that you will offer by being part of this program? Sure. So once people join the program, we will start with extra professional development opportunities available to everybody from the very beginning. So you might have Saturday Kagan cooperative learning opportunities, and that's an excellent program where you learn how to use cooperative learning groups in your classes. And we're hoping to do that with the supervising teachers, so you can start professional learning. It would be like 1 or 2 Saturdays a year, nothing huge, but there'll be opportunities from the beginning. And then once you are a teacher of record and in the program, you'll receive induction support, which is where you're assigned a mentor, probably from your district, who is going to works with the Arizona K12 Center, is certified through us, but is going to support you in your practice and visit your classroom, at least a few times a month. So you're getting support from that. And then again, in the final year of your commitment, the 4th year, we encourage people to pursue pre-candidacy for national board, and there's online webinars for that and support for that. And then national board is this extensive professional development and support. But just by being part of this program, we like to call you our friends and family of the Arizona K12 Center, and the Arizona K12 Center offers numerous different professional learning opportunities. You can go to our website for more information, and you can see the different types of programs that we offer. And we encourage anyone to be part of any of that as well. The next question is, I'm interested in teaching science, but unsure between middle school and high school. Should I wait until the high school preparation program opens? We really need middle school science teachers. Middle school is a really special time and a really important time for students developmentally. And so if you want to serve students and get them excited about science from an early age, you could apply now and we can place you at one of our middle schools, because as we noted, we're elementary and middle right now. And then hopefully next year, the following year, we're hoping to expand to high school. But I mean, it doesn't hurt to start teaching middle school now. If you know you want to teach high school and you're like, I only want to teach high school, I want the older students that are like getting ready for college, then it might be better for you to wait, but it doesn't hurt to apply now. Will special education be an option through this program? We don't have that option yet because we're working on proposing a dual elementary and special education certification and master's program, but we don't yet have the capacity to do that. Right now, the special education program is very different in the requirements, but we're hoping to in coming years. Is there a particular grade level that needs teachers, or is it open to any grade? Any grade. We need teachers in Arizona across the board. So any grade. And on the initial application form, we will give you an option to rank, order the levels in which you would like to teach. So you could say you'd like to teach kindergarten through second grade as your top choice, or you could say you want to teach 6th through 8th as your top choice. So you can rank order the levels, and maybe kindergarten's your last choice. So any level you want in terms of like a range between like kindergarten and second, and we'll place you where the district knows they're probably going to have need in the coming years, because in hiring you as a resident or enrolling you as a resident, the district is essentially saying we are going to have a job for you the following year. Would having an emergency substitute certification disqualify an applicant? I don't think so. I'm going to have to look into this because there's all these technicalities with Arizona Teachers Academy that I don't fully understand. But if it's a substitute certification, I do not believe that it disqualifies you, but I will have to do a little more digging to verify that. How fast are you expanding to other school districts within the Valley? Right now, we are working to create an application process that will allow districts across the Valley to apply to be a part of this program, because we will be expanding more and more each year. And so we're currently working on that application process, and hopefully by next year, we can expand to another couple districts, ideally, that we'll select from these applications. The next question is, within the apprentice year, will you switch grades when you switch supervising teachers? Yes, ideally, you would get to teach 2 different grades, because we know that you could end up in any grade. And so we want to make sure that you have a diversity of experience. So maybe you start in kindergarten and then your second year is in 5th grade. So maybe that kind of range. If we know you probably want to do middle school, maybe a 6th and an 8th, or maybe a 5th and a 7th, something that's maybe closer to that range. But yes, we're trying to give you 2 different experiences. But if we know you want to be early childhood, we probably won't put you in a kindergarten class and then an 8th grade class, because that probably won't serve you. Next question, are you allowed to have an extra job to have extra money for your academic needs part-time? We prefer folks to devote as much time as they can to this program, but if you have a side hustle, like, maybe you make things and sell them on Etsy, or occasionally drive for Lyft or whatever it is, I don't see that as a problem. AmeriCorps may have very specific requirements around this, but I haven't heard anything about this yet. So I think you probably should be able to have, something small that's outside of the hours, but we do, it's a full-time commitment during the school day. You'll be in schools early, you'll end the school day when the schools end. You might have after school coursework, all day Fridays, you'll be in courses. So it's a pretty comprehensive and time-intensive program. So it would be hard to have a pretty consistent, additional job on top of that. But, for the most part, you'll have time on the weekends. But like I said, there'll be some Saturday opportunities as well that we hope people will be able to make. So it might be hard to have anything large for that. can you reiterate the requirements of submitting FAFSA? So everybody who applies to this program in order to qualify for the Arizona Teachers Academy funding has to submit a FAFSA. And FAFSA has a number of particular requirements to be eligible. So you either have to be a US citizen, or I believe it's a legal resident. So there may be other potential ways to get into FAFSA that I'm not as familiar with. And so you'll submit the FAFSA at the very end stage. So you don't need to do that yet or worry about that yet. But I would encourage you to go to NAU's website and look at the Arizona Teachers Academy and the requirements for that. And we can provide a link to that in a follow-up. And it's also on our website, I believe. In the frequently asked question page on our website, there's a link to it. The next question is, I have one master's, it is in social justice and human rights from ASU. I'm wondering if coming in with a master's is acceptable, or if you're primarily looking for folks who only have their undergrad. You can absolutely have additional degrees. We are not going to discriminate against anybody who has an additional degree. That's amazing. It does not hurt to have 2 master's degrees in your life. I already saw some folks who applied to the program that have a law degree. And again, that's also fine. So you can have different degrees and decide that now you want to become a teacher, and we're going to really, really prepare you for teaching. So absolutely, you can have another degree. The 3 school districts are all public school districts. Yes. How could a charter school participate in it? When we are looking for additional districts to partner with and we put out that application, we'll allow charter schools, of course, to be a part of that application process as well. Is the certification only available in elementary ed? Yes, right now we just have the elementary ed, which is a general certification. So as we add in future years the high school, then we'll be able to offer something like ELA, again, hopefully special ed, but right now it will be that general elementary education, which covers everything from kindergarten through 8th grade. Next question is, how do you choose the mentor teachers that are part of the program? I'm glad you asked that question. We're doing a community nomination process for these mentors. So we're starting by asking the community in each of these partner districts, from parents to students, peer teachers, they can self-nominate, district leaders, school leaders, to nominate teachers they think would be good for this program. So we're starting with the people who know, the teachers who are caring and supportive. And then from that list, we'll gather all these nominations, invite all of those teachers to submit a full application. We'll review the applications and then invite those teachers to participate in an interview and hopefully be able to observe their practice as well. And from those determinations, using a rubric, we'll select teachers who we think would be the best teachers for this program. So we're really thoughtful about this. The mentor or supervising teacher is what we're calling them in this program, is so important. So we want to make sure we're selecting the teachers who will be there for the residents. So that's how we're going to go through that. How many candidates are allowed for this program? So as noted, we're starting with 30, probably-ish. If we accept a few more, we might accept a few more than 30, just in case for this first year. But then again, we're hoping to expand to 50 next year. That's pretty ambitious, but that's where we're going right now. So again, if folks don't get in the first year, we encourage you to apply to the second year. And we'll continue to expand in years to come. I wish we could support more people now, but we want to do this really well. The next question is, should I have received an email from Arizona K12 Center informing me that my application was received? No, not yet. So if you submitted an application, we received it. And it was all done online. And so don't worry, I received your application and we just haven't been able to go through all of them. And we want to respond once we have the follow-up, which is asking you to submit your additional information. The next is, if this program does partner with AmeriCorps and I've already completed 2 AmeriCorps terms and received my 2 lifetime special Siegel awards, would I still be eligible to apply? So my understanding is that you can't have done more than 4. I think the number was 4. So I think you would still be eligible to apply for this program. But we can talk about that on an individual basis too, to see if there's some way to work something out too. But I'm pretty sure the limit was 4. The next question, from what I understand, when you're a teacher and teach for at least 5 years, your student loan is wiped clean. Would this program allow for that? So this might be talking about undergraduate student loans. So you wouldn't have to take out student loans for the master's program because the Arizona Teachers Academy is already covering that. That might be referencing the Teach Grant. So the Teach Grant is specifically covering your teacher education programs as well, and you had to have applied for that, I believe. So there may be a different program that the federal government is working on, but I'm not familiar with that. And so I'm not sure how this would interact with that program or not. And then those were all the questions in the Q&A. So there's some more in the chat here. Let's see. I have certification in another state, but have been out of the field for over 5 years. Is this program an option for me? I actually don't know. I'm not sure because it all depends on whether the Arizona Teachers Academy would cover your programming. If you were a teacher and you taught for a while, this might not be the right program for you because it's going to feel maybe a little basic because we're starting from the beginning. We're really preparing teachers who have never been in the classroom or who have worked as subs or have worked as paraprofessionals or other in school, but not actually teaching. So it might feel like it might not be the right program for you. But if you send me an email about that, I'll try to investigate that particular question. The next question is, we are only involved with middle and elementary schools for this. Oh, okay, yeah, right above that. Yes, the master's degree is only in elementary education at this point. Those of you looking to work with high school folks, I'm thinking probably either the next year or the following year. That's when we're hoping to expand to high school. So depending on what we find our capacity is in this first year to expand. And so I don't have a direct answer for you, but that's the best answer I have right now. Back to the Q&A. Let's see. I'm concerned I won't be eligible for financial aid. Would this prohibit me from being accepted into the program and receiving tuition remission? So as noted before, if somebody is not eligible for financial aid for some reason, for example, if somebody is a dreamer or a DACA recipient, then we can work with that person to see if we can find supplemental funding to support this. So there's a lot of different kinds of scholarships that are available. And because we received a large grant from the Arizona Department of Education, we might be able to conjure forth some additional supportive funding for that to help cover those costs. So I would say still apply, even if you think you might not be able to qualify for FAFSA, but let us know so that we can start working on whether we can find that additional supplemental funding to cover that tuition. Through this program, we would be considered NAU students. With that, it allows access to campus and the computer lab. It should. I mean, I don't entirely know why it wouldn't, but I would assume that it should, but that's an assumption. So I can always find out more detail about that, but I would think that you would qualify like any other NAU student. Any other questions here? All right, well, thank you so much for all of your thoughtful questions. We're so excited that all of you are interested in applying to this program. And if you have any other additional questions, feel free to email me. I'll drop my email into the chat right now, so you can email at any time. Our email is back up and working. If you tried to email us over the last 2 weeks, our email was down for a little while and we have lost some of that. Oh, and there's one more question. There's one more question in the Q&A. Hold on, I'm posting that. Regarding the second year, would we be a teacher? Yes. So you would be a teacher in that second year. And you can actually go on the different districts' websites and look at their salaries schedule. And you can see, I think the beginning teacher salary is somewhere around 40,000, but it depends what district. And so if you go into the district, you can actually look that up. And you can see what the salary is for the beginning teacher, but then you get bumps for your master's degree, bumps for your, if you get national board, all of that. All right, thank you so much. Feel free to email me if you have questions, and I'm looking forward to all of your applications for the program. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Oh, you didn't see the email? Oh, wait, hold on a second. I will put that up here. Here, I know what happened. I accidentally sent it to just the panelists. azk12.org. There we go. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so let us know if you have any other questions. Have a great night.